وما أنفقتم من شيء فهو يخلفه وهو خير الرازقين ويوم يحشرهم جميعا ثم يقول للملائكة أهؤلاء إياكم كانوا يعبدون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Give the brother one more loud.
فتر القلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته اللهم عفس صلة سلواتك وسلامة تسليماتك على أفضل التعينات المفاضة من العماء رباني وآخر التنزلات المضافة إلى نوع الإنساني كان الله ولم يكن معه شيء ثاني محصي لعوالم حضرات الخمس في وجوده وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام المبين الرسول النبي المكي المدني الخرشي التحامي صاحب لواء الحمد ومقام المحمود أبي القاسم محمد الحميد اللهم صل على وعلى أخيه وابن عمه وخليفته من بعده وقائد الغر المحجلين ياسوب الدين إمام المتقين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب اللهم صل على محمد وآله وعلى ابنته الطاهرة الحوراء الإنسية الراضية المرضية الشفية يوم الجزاء فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى قيام يوم الدين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون ومثل كلمة خبيثة كشجرة خبيثة اجتثت من فوق الأرض ما لها من قرار يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent and most merciful. It is a great honor for all of us to commemorate the martyrdom of Imam Hussein and to reflect upon the teachings of Imam Hussein and to straighten our objectives, our goals in our life, to stay upright on the path of Sirat-e-Mustaqim. Imam Hussein is an exemplar as the Prophet of Allah was an exemplar. As Quran says, Lakum fi Rasulillahi uswatun hasana. The best of exemplar for you is the Prophet of Allah himself. That's what Quran says. And likewise, Imam Hussein is the best of exemplars if we truly want to be on the true Islam, the Islam that was brought by Rasulullah, because there was an attempt to pollute, to corrupt Islam that was brought by Rasulullah. And therefore, if we are seeking and if we are looking for the pure Islam, then we have no other alternative, no other choice but to go to the doorstep of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When you look at the character of Imam Hussein, when you look at the seerah of Imam Hussein, when you look at the conduct of Imam Hussein with others, when you look at the worship of Imam Hussein near Allah, you will find that he was an infallible Imam. There is not a shred of doubt in his character, in his conduct. Nobody can put forward one defect in his personality. Whereas others who were around, there are tons and tons of problems that they had, to the extent they created an industry, a factory. This factory used to manufacture what? It used to manufacture ahadith. It would manufacture false narrations quoting Rasulullah on things that the Prophet of Allah declined and the Prophet of Allah had never done. And therefore the Prophet of Allah had given us a criteria to ensure that we are upright on the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim. And the Prophet said that if you want to ensure that you are on my seerah, on my path, and somebody quotes you my words, the criteria to measure if that is my word or not is to compare it with Quran. And if it contradicts Quran and if it is against Quran, then throw those words on the wall, because that does not belong to me. Because I, the Prophet of Allah, would never contradict Quran. So my dear brothers and sisters, that is how we see the character of Imam Ali alayhi salam, that is how we see the character of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, and that is how we see Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And if you look at the circumstances in which all of these Imams have lived, you will find they were all different. Imam Ali alayhi salam had to be patient for 25 years, stay silent in Medina, the same Medina that he came with the Prophet of Allah, and the same companions that surrounded the Holy Prophet, they defected and they betrayed Ahlul Bayt. Although they accepted the wilaya and the guardianship of Ahlul Bayt on the day of Ghadir, but we find them abandoning Ghadir, running away from Ghadir and making their own ruler, choosing their own ruler. Recently when Alhamdulillah, Allah had honored me with the ziyarah and the pilgrimage of His house, so I was in Hajj, and the hotel that we lived was right in front of a building that now is going to be a huge conference hall. That building is being made for a huge conference hall, although I don't know why it was half burnt. Some are saying that one of the attacks that has occurred, probably that was the reason. They are not declaring. It's an empty building, but they very proudly show those local, guides. They show, this is the place of Saqifa Bani Saida. This is the place. This is exactly where the future of the Ummah was decided without the consent of Quran, without the consent of Rasulullah. This is Saqifa of Bani Saida. And they say this is where the Ashab, they came, and the people of Medina first came, and they wanted to decide who their ruler would be, and the Quraysh entered. Not even Quraysh, there were 3 people from Quraysh who actually went there. And then they completely hijacked the discourse and declared the first Khalifa, and later on all these people regret all these actions. So even today, and this is an unfortunate event in the history of Islam, and even today now they are trying to praise it, now they want to memorize it as if it was something good, and now there is going to be conferences. In future, Muslims will have conferences because Saqifa Bani Saida was a conference, as if it was a good action. So if there was not Imam Hussein and Ahlul Bayt standing upright, imagine how quickly Islam would have been distorted. Last year when I went to Hajj, I saw that when we would go to Baqi, and people would inquire whose grave is this and whose grave is that, they would completely decline, saying, we don't know whose grave is this. This is a very old cemetery, and hundreds of people, thousands of people are buried in this cemetery. Whoever says that there is anybody buried here specific from the companions of the Holy Prophet, they are all liars. This is what they used to say last year. This year when I went, the routine has changed. Why? Because their dunya is at stake now. They are on a verge of a collapse. Now I heard in the mountain of Uhud, where Hazrat Hamza Sayyid al-Shuhada is buried, that the grave of Sayyid al-Shuhada Hazrat Hamza could not be even seen. And if you look at it, and if you start speaking some words as if you are doing the ziyarah of Hazrat Hamza, they would come near you and say, get lost from here. You're doing bid'ah, get lost, get lost. This is how they used to treat. Even last year. But this year, there is a guy standing in a car and he is declaring on a speaker saying, Man zara madinati qala Rasulullah, man zara madinati. Whoever came to my Madina, he should visit 4 places. My mosque, Jannatul Baqi, Masjid Quba, and the grave of Hazrat Hamza. How did suddenly all this change? I mean, it was last year. I am witness to this whole thing. How is it changing? Why is it changing? Because their dunya is at stake. They can turn around so quickly. But Quran is not changing, and the seerah of Ahlul Bayt is not changing. Because they are directly connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are upright, as Quran declares Ahlul Bayt as kalimatun tayyaba ka shajaratin tayyaba. And what does this kalama tayyaba do? Or this tree, shajara tayyaba, the good tree, asluha sabitun. Its asl, its roots are intact and deeply grounded. Wa far'uha fis sama. And its branches are in the skies. Its roots are not laying above the ground, they are well grounded. If you recall the discussion that we said that this asl is based on Tawheed. This kalima tayyaba that is being referred to is the kalima Tawheed. Yesterday also I shared with you the Hadith Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares, and Imam Raza alayhi salam narrates, saying, Kalima la ilaha illallah hisni man dakhala hisni amena min azabi. And then the Imam alayhi salam says that although this is going to be Kalima la ilaha illallah, the word of Tawheed is my fortress. It's my fort. Whoever enters into my fort would be saved from my azab, from my chastisement. And then Imam Raza says, although this is going to be with some conditions, and I am one of its condition, meaning the Imam is one of the conditions of entering into the fort of Tawheed. And the moment we are in the fort of Tawheed, the branches would rise in the sky. What are those branches? If you recall, we said that they would be the knowledge of truth and morality and virtuous actions. That is how our Tawheed would manifest. If we are truly grounded in Tawheed, what would that Tawheed display? It would display knowledge of Haqq, and also it would display morality, and it would display virtuous actions. So if in our lifetime we feel that we are not doing good, we do not talk about the truth, we suppress truth, We suppress truth. We suppress righteousness. Why? Because it does not serve our interest. It does not serve our cause. Or we ignore morality. However, we do not ignore. What is happening in today's world is that they do not ignore morality, they trivialize morality. They make it so trivial and so small that you feel that it's nothing, it's really nothing, you know. It's such a small thing, it's such a small thing, you know, everybody has their own choice, everybody has their own options in life, and they can do whatever they want. It's nothing. Why do I care? It's not my problem, it's his own personal problem. We are trivializing morality. When we all know that we have been created by Allah with an upright morality. And we know what is right and what is wrong. And then virtuous actions. So if we are not conducting, if we are not having virtuous actions, if we are not doing righteous things, then we should know that there is something wrong with our tawheed. Maybe our tawheed, we lack clarity in our tawheed. And the moment one's tawheed is intact and well grounded, the manifestation of that tawheed would be the spreading of the truth, and the manifestation of that tawheed would be spreading of justice and morality in society, and the manifestation of that tawheed would be virtuous actions for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So quickly, I will try to move forward so I can, get to the last two verses that I had the honor of reciting. But when we look at Kalama Tayyaba from other scholars also, and also in the light of a hadith, I have a hadith that I would like to share with you today from Al-Kafi, Usul-e-Kafi, one of our books whose authenticity is well documented, in which the narrator says that I inquired and I asked our sixth Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin. سألت أبا عبد الله عن قول الله كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء. The narrator says, I asked our sixth Imam about this verse which says, like a good tree, shajaratin tayyaba, whose roots are sabit, whose roots are steady and intact, wa far'uha fis sama, whose branches are in the sky. What does Allah mean here, O grandson of the Holy Prophet? And the narrator says, then the Imam replied, qala faqal Rasulullah asluha. What is the asl? The Imam is saying, the asl is, the root is the Prophet of Allah himself. Wa amirul mu'minin far'uha. Imam Ali alayhi salam is the branch or the trunk of that tree. Wal a'immatu min zurriyatihima aghsanuha. And the A'imma from the Zurriya, from the progeny of Amirul Mu'mineen and Rasulullah, the Imams, they are the branches that are spreading in that tree. وَالْعِلْمُ الْأَئِمَّةِ سَمَرَتُهَا. The knowledge of the Imams is the fruit of that tree. The knowledge of the Imam, in these verses, if you recall, it talks about the fruit. And that good fruit from a good tree is the knowledge of the Imam that is spread in society. Ilmul a'imma samaratuha wa shi'atuhum al-mu'minun varakhaha. And the followers and the Shias of Amirul Mu'mineen are the leaves of that tree. So we are part of that good tree, that Shajara Tayyaba. We are part of that Shajara Tayyaba as leaves of that tree. And the knowledge of our Aimma is the fruit of that tree. And the branches are our Aimma, and the trunk is Amirul Mu'mineen, and the roots are Rasulullah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So my dear brothers and sisters, when we are connected, we are not separate from them. You know, the fruit, where does the fruit fall? Not too far away from the tree, even if it falls. Okay, where does the leaf fall? It falls near the tree, even if we are disconnected. But if you look at this hadith, you will find that we are connected with our Aimma. The Aimma are not abandoning us and they are saying that we are what all we are and you guys are nothing. No, they are saying you are connected with us. You are our ambassadors. In fact, I think Maulana Zaidi and also Maulana Abedi are having this subject of the duty of the ambassadors of Imam Hussain. If we are truly the ambassadors of Imam Hussain, what should be our duty? Do we really represent them? When we claim that we are their followers and their Shia, does our actions reflect their teachings? Does our actions manifest their teachings? Or all we are saying is just lip service? Let us see what Imam Hussain says and what he said to Farazdaq. But before that, I would like to say that this kalimatun tayyaba, how the ulama have described this, that the station or the maqam of kalima tayyaba, if we want to attain that station, that doors of that attaining that station is open. Like in America, why do people come to America? Because it's a land of opportunities. I have lived in India. There is a age bar for everything. If you cross, say, 18 years of age, you cannot get to the best military school that they have. And if you cross a certain age, you cannot write civil service exams. If you cross this, you cross that, you need to be of certain caste to be in a certain quotas. There are so many complications where you feel like there is no opportunity for you to thrive and truly show your potential. So people migrate to America because there is, this is a land of opportunity and it gives you that opportunity. And that is how Quran gives us that opportunity. That is how Islam gives us that opportunity. That is how our Imams gives us that opportunity. If we want to become kalima tayyaba, we can. We can truly become that. And in fact, in the tafsir of this verse, Allama Tehrani narrates that a person, that he says that all of existence is kalame Quda, kalame tayyaba of Quda, kalame tayyaba of Allah. All, we are the words of Allah. Everything in existence is the word of Allah. Why? All Allah need to say is kun fayakun. The moment kun comes in, the creation starts to manifest. So everything in existence is the kalama or the word of Allah. And now they differ in their stations, in their maqams, in their whatness, what they are. For example, Prophet can do miracles, right? Or when we see the potential, there are certain things which do not have a potential. Let me give you a simpler example. A wall. Can you say that we can, install an eye, a human eye on the wall, and it would seamlessly become part of the wall? Obviously not. Why? Because the wall does not have the capacity of how a human body operates. Now you cannot blame the wall for not doing it because the wall does not have the capacity. So likewise, whichever being of existence that Allah has given capacity, they can with that capacity flourish and attain the maqam or the station of perfection and kamal. And we can attain that kamal. Some of the existence already attain their kamal. When a fruit of a good tree, when a good tree delivers a good fruit, that is the perfection of that tree. Whereas human beings have the tendency to move in both directions. So Allama Tehrani says that if a person purifies himself, then he would enter into the realm of ikhlas, of sincerity. Alam-e-khulus. One of the biggest things that we need to have to truly submit ourselves to Allah is ikhlas, sincerity. If you don't have sincerity, people say, you know what, I am I'm a busy person, I need to work hard, I need to raise my family, I don't have time to worship, I don't have time to go to Hajj, I don't have time to go to Ziyarah, I cannot do all these things, how can Allah expect from me this and that? People sometimes complain. And the ulama say, what is it that you can do within yourself? It is to purify your niyyah, to purify your intention, to be sincerely submitting yourself to Allah. That is ikhlas. And ulama is saying that a mu'min, when he purifies himself, enters into a world, into a realm of khulus, of ikhlas, where he is completely purified. Now, there is nothing that belongs to him. Everything is for Allah Himself. In that stage, when a mu'min gets into that, then he becomes mukhlas. In Quran, there are two words for khulus. One is mukhlis and there is mukhlas. Mukhlis with a zamma, with a kasra, mukhlis on a lam, you find that a person is in the process of purifying his sincerity. Mukhlas are the ones who have already been purified. They are purified. Now, kalama tayyaba is truly attaining that station. Now, when we look at that, who are mukhlas servants of Allah? When you go and look into the Quran, you will find, especially into the story of Iblis. If you recall the story of Iblis, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to the angels and declaring the creation of Hazrat Adam, as Quran says, إِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِنْ طِينٍ. When Allah declares that I am going to create a human being out of clay, فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَخَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. And so when I have created this human being and breathed in him ruh, my spirit, then you should fall in sajda, you should fall in prostration. فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ كُلُّهُمْ. Quran says that all the angels, they prostrated when Adam was created, illa Iblis, except for Iblis, except for Shaitan. Astagbara wa kana min al-kafirin. What did he do? He became arrogant and he became one of those who became faithless, the rejectors. He became one of the kafirin. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala questions Iblis, what is it that made you not worship Adam or not prostrate when I commanded you, when I created Adam, you should be prostrating. Khala ya Iblis ma mana'aka an tasjuda lima khalaqtu biyadiya. Oh Iblis, what is it? What compelled you not to prostrate in front of me when I have created him with my own qudra? Astakbarta. Did you become proud? Did you become arrogant? Quran is saying, Am kunta min al-alin, or did you include yourself amongst those who are exalted? Now there are a lot of things that I'm skipping very quickly. I'm trying to move so that I can, cover my topic, where this shows that there were some who were exalted and who were not required to prostrate before Adam. Alin. Did you consider, either you were ignorant or you thought that you were amongst Alin, the exalted ones. Khala. Now Iblis is saying, Shaitan is saying, Khala ana khayrun minhu, khalaqtani min nar wa khalaqtahu min teen. I am better than Adam. You created me with fire and you created Adam with clay, with earth. And here we see the tone of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala change as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kicking out Iblis. قال فَخْرُجْ مِنْهَا فَإِنَّكَ رَجِيمٌ. Be gone, get lost, for you are indeed an outcast. You need to leave because you have disobeyed me. وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكَ لَعْنَتِي إِلَى يَوْمِ الدِّينِ. And indeed my la'na, my curse will be on you till the day of judgment. Allah is kicking out Iblis for not, listening to the command of Allah only once. Now here, we find people saying, what is it if I miss prayer one time? What if I, do one guna one time? It's only one time, And if you look at things seriously when you look at things, one time can change your life. If you are on a highway and you make a mistake one time driving, what happens? That one time is good enough for the rest of your life. One could completely be crippled for the rest of his life. He could lose his life. He could lose the life of loved ones. One mistake on a highway. So Iman is a highway. Iman, there are, as they say, Nashib and Faraz, there are ups and downs when you are traversing the path of Iman, and you need to be very, very cautious because Shaitan is going to come from your left side, from your right side. Shaitan is going to whisper you. Shaitan is going to draw your attention away from the highway of Iman such that you would enter somewhere else and you would collide with something else. Or Shaitan would let you take an exit and make you so mesmerized and absorbed in this rest area that you never come back on the highway again. You take the highway exit on the rest areas. When we go on a long trips, all of you go to rest areas, beautiful rest areas, there is food and you can take rest there, you can pray. But eventually, if you have a goal in mind that you are trying to reach, you need to move. You are not going to make a home in a rest area and stay there. But that could happen. That would happen on the path if you are traversing the path of Iman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to Shaitan that my curse would be upon you and you are being kicked out from here, and my curse would be upon you till the day of judgment. Now when Shaitan realizes that I am gone, now I have no other option, now Shaitan is seeking other options, considering other options. قَالَ رَبِّي وَانْزِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ. He said, my Lord, give me a chance, respite me till the day they will be resurrected. Give me that fursa, give me that opportunity. قَالَ فَإِنَّكَ مِنَ الْمُنْزَرِينَ. And Allah said He, you are indeed amongst those whom Allah has reprived. Allah has given you respite. Allah has given you opportunity till that day. إِلَى يَوْمِ وَقْتِ الْمَعْلُومِ. Until the day of the known time. Allah gave respite to Shaitan. Why does Allah give respite to Shaitan? See, when we get away from something, right? If we break a law on the freeway and there are apps which will tell you where the cop is sitting so you can slow down and not get a speeding ticket, right? So once you get away from it, you think, oh, I got away from it. But sometimes getting away from breaking the law can cause you severely in the future, right? But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, like Allah has given Shaitan respite until the day of judgment. So even if we can get away from things, it's not that Allah is not watching us, it's not that Allah is not seeing us. Of course Allah is watching us, Allah is holding us accountable, but Allah does not have to be quick in retribution, be quick in accounting. Who's supposed to be quick in accounting? The one who feels that that person is running away from his control. For example, if somebody breaks the law here, a severe, law, does something really very, very bad, what does he do? He tries to cross the border, go to Mexico. Why does he do that? Because then he would not be reachable by the law enforcement here. Because the domain of control of this country lies in this country, not in that country, or run to some other country, right? So the law enforcement also knows that. So what are they doing? They are sealing the borders so that nobody can leave. They will make sure the moment there is a crime like this, first thing they are going to do is give a high alert to the borders that a person with this, profile should not leave the country. Does Allah have a problem like that? That we will run away from His domain, from His control? No. We will always be in the domain of Allah. There is no way we can run away out of His control. So Allah is giving us respite. Now when Shaitan got what he wanted from Allah, that till the day of judgment he has the opportunity. قَالَ فَبِعِزَّتِكَ. Now Shaitan is swearing. فَبِعِزَّتِكَ لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. I swear by you, O Allah, by your might, O Allah, I shall surely deviate all of them, meaning humanity. I am going to deviate humanity from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the path of Sirat-e-Mustaqim. But here I have served all this time to bring to you that mukhlasin that I have talked to you about. That's where I am trying to come. Then Shaitan himself says that I shall deviate the whole mankind illa, except ibadika minhumul mukhlasin, except for your exclusive servants among them. Meaning that there are some exclusive servants of Allah that Shaitan on the day one itself said, I cannot deviate them. I will deviate everybody except those exclusive servants. Who are those? Those are the mukhlas servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is maqam ikhlas. This is the maqam that those believers who possess kalima tayyaba would attain the maqam of khulus. And when they do, Shaitan does not have the ability or capacity to deviate them. Shaitan concedes himself and says, I cannot do anything to them. I will misguide everybody except your mukhlas servants. So what is Imam Hussein representing? What are our Aimma representing? They are those mukhlasin that Allah has made for us as exemplars. However, the door is open for us to go through that journey and attain ikhlas and enter into the realm of khulus. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Once we are connected with those who are mukhlas, then Shaitan will not have access to us. If we are connected with the mukhlas servants of Allah, and if we know that there is only one category for whom Allah had taken upon Himself the duty of keeping their purity intact, and Quran declares, surely they are mukhlas of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And where is Allah saying in the Holy Quran? When Allah declares ayat tathir, innama yuridullah liyuzhiba ankumur rijsa ahlal bayt wa yutahhirakum tathira. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. That it is the desire of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, O household of the Holy Prophet, to keep your purity intact as it is due. Show me, is there anybody else that Allah took upon Himself the task of ensuring that that purity remains intact? No. So these are mukhlas. And Imam Hussein in Karbala was the manifestation of that ikhlas. So if we hold on to the path of Imam Hussein, we would not be shaken. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now let us ask Imam Hussein himself how we are. How do we take our priorities? Where do we take our priorities? When Imam Hussein was on his way to Karbala or on his way to Kufa, and he meets Farazdakh, one of the poets of that time. And Farazdakh is returning from Kufa. And Imam Hussein inquires, Ma varaka ya Aba Firas? What did you leave, O Aba Firas? Tell me, what did you leave behind? When you left Kufa, tell me, what did you leave? And Farazdak says, Khultu asdukuk, O son of the Holy Prophet, should I tell you the truth? Do you want to really listen to the truth? Khala alayhi salam, as-sidqa urid. Truth is what I desire. Tell me the truth. How did you leave Kufa? And Farazdak says that amma khulubu fama'ak wa amma suyufu ma'a bani Umayya. Their hearts, Ya Hussein, their hearts are with you, but their swords are with Bani Umayya. Now here Imam Hussein declares this statement, and he says, وَالنَّصَرُ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ, and the help comes from Allah. And then Imam Hussein says, قَالَ مَا أَرَاكَ إِلَّا صَدَقْتَ, what you have seen is what you have told as a truth. And then this is the point where I want you to reflect, my dear brothers and sisters. Imam Hussein says, إِنَّ النَّاسِ عَبِيدُ الدُّنْيَا, people are the slaves of the world. وَالدِّينُ لَغْوٌ عَلَىٰ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ, their religion is lip service that resides on their words and in their mouth. يَهُوتُونَهُ مَا دَرَّتْ بِهِ مَعَايِشُهُمْ, as long as their lives are good, their deen, their religion, their faith, their convictions is only lip service. فَإِذَا مُحِسُّ بِالْبَلَىٰ خَلَّ دَيَّانُونَ, the moment they are confronted with bala, the moment they are confronted with hardship, then you will find only few who are mutadayyan, who are intact, who are steady, who are well grounded. An-nas abidud dunya. So my dear brothers and sisters, we need to reflect and know, how do we look ourselves? How is our religion? Is our religion grounded in kalima tayyaba, whose asl, whose roots are in tawheed, and whose branches are in our morality and our upright action? Or we can be shaken very easily. We are the servants of this world, and the moment calamity comes, khalla dayyanun, then there will be only few who are mutadayyan. Everybody else will align and follow what is being told to them other than the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. My dear brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein, even in Karbala, is sending a message. Look at the universality of this message, that people are slaves of this world, and their religion is a factor of lip service which can evaporate with the calamity or hardship that they confront. So if we are upholding, if we are part of that tree whose roots are the Holy Prophet, and whose trunk is Amirul Mu'mineen, and whose branches are all other Imams, and we are the leaves of that tree, then we should have the same quality, because the nourishment that we get, where does the leaf get the nourishment from? From the root. If we belong to that tree, then we should get the nourishment from that root itself. And if we do get the nourishment from that root itself, we will never be shaken in the times of hardship. We will never be shaken to comply and concede and submit ourselves to other than Allah and compromise on our principles. This is what Imam Hussein has taught. And if we want to trace the footsteps of Imam Hussein, as my topic says, tracing the footsteps of the leader of paradise, the leader of martyrs, then we need to ensure that we are not shaken in the time of difficulty, in the time of test. And Imam Hussein had proven that. If Karbala would have happened only by Imam Hussein as one person, then you can easily say that yeah, he was the Imam, he grew up in the arms of the Holy Prophet, he was raised by Hazrat Zahra, he was raised by Amir al-Mu'min, so he can do, we cannot do it. But you will find companions of Imam Hussein, the loved ones of Imam Hussein, the children of Imam Hussein, they were also equally upright on the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim as was Imam Hussein. How, the Imam had made his teachings connect such that their faith also became strong enough. Even their convictions became as powerful, as strong as the Imam himself. It's an example in fiqh, in jurisprudence they give, that when you have a small utensil or a small quantity of water, and if you want to purify it, with a small impurity going into it, it will get impure, it will become najis, right? So the best thing for you to go and get closer to what is called kur, which is a larger amount of water, about 440 liters of water, or to move into a flowing river, a water that is running water, which is always pure. So if there is najasa with us, the best way for us is to get connected to something which is pure and which has the ability to purify continuously even if we get impure. And the Ahl al-Bayt and Imam Hussein and Karbala is that means through which, if we are connected with Karbala, if we are connected with Imam Hussein, if we are connected with the teachings of Ahl al-Bayt, even if there are shortcomings in the process of being connected with this core, we will be able to purify ourselves. So ensure that we never leave or we never abandon that connection and that relationship that Allah had honored us with. And in this, especially in this hadith of Kalama Tayyaba, the Imam is saying that we are the leaves of the tree whose root is the Holy Prophet, whose trunk is Amir al-Mu'mineen, and whose branches are Ahl al-Bayt. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I wanted to talk about, Kalame Khabisa, but I don't think we have time. Inshallah, I will continue it tomorrow. But I wanted to share with you the impact of the movement of Imam Hussein was such that not only his loved ones, his family members were with Imam Hussein, but also those who were far away. And tonight we are going to commemorate the martyrdom of Hazrat Habib ibn Mazahir. So Hazrat Habib ibn Mazahir is a Kufan noble. He is a noble of Kufa who is a jurist in our times, who is a marja, who is a faqih, and who is a qari, reciter, beautiful reciter of the Holy Quran. And then in the words of Imam Hussein on the martyrdom of Imam Habib ibn Mazahir, the words that Imam Hussein had uttered said, "Oh Habib, you are the same one who would finish a Quran every night." Habib ibn Mazahir was a zahid, was a servant of Allah, a pious servant of Allah, to the extent that he would finish reciting the Holy Quran every night. Imam Hussein is testifying that. If Imam Hussein is testifying, nobody can. Then we find, how is Habib ibn Mazahir? Habib ibn Mazahir is a close companion of Imam Ali alayhi salam. In fact, Muhaddis Khummi narrates about Habib ibn Mazahir and says, وَيَظْهَرُ مِنْ رِوَايَاتٍ. It is obvious from the narrations, إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنْ خَاصَّتِهِ. That is Amir al-Mu'mineen. Habib ibn Mazahir was amongst the special circle of companions of Imam Ali. Ashab Sir, they used to call the secret that Imam Ali used to share with some of his companions. Habib ibn Mazahir was amongst one of those. Alayhi salam. Wa hamalate ilmihi. Not only that, he was amongst those secret companions, he also carried the knowledge that was taught to him by Amir al-Mu'mineen. And the narration says Habib ibn Mazahir was a noble in Kufa. Amongst those who had written letters to Imam Hussein, Habib ibn Mazahir was one of those. And yet we find that he was not able to come to Karbala. Why? Because Imam Hussein was turned away from Kufa into a different direction where Imam is now going towards Karbala, and nobody from Kufa was allowed to leave to do the nusra or to help the Imam. So nobody can leave Kufa. The situation in Kufa had completely changed. Ibn Ziyad had entered into Kufa in the dress of Imam Hussein. By wearing the amama of Rasulullah, Ibn Ziyad acted as if people of Kufa thought that Imam Hussein is entering the city. Ibn Ziyad was the one who entered in the dress of the Holy Prophet, and people were thinking that this is the grandson of the Holy Prophet coming, until he entered into the palace and locked himself inside the palace and started making all these plans, ensuring that nobody leaves Kufa. And here Imam Hussein had been surrounded by enemy, and there are enemy after enemy, in thousands they were coming, to the extent that the sister of Imam Hussein, Hazrat Zainab, says, "Oh my beloved brother, all I can see is the battalions of enemy. The armies are coming. Don't you have any friend? Don't you have any loved one who would come to help you? Oh Hussein!" And Imam Hussein remembers Habib ibn Mazahir, and Imam Hussein recalls Habib and sends a letter to Habib ibn Mazahir. And when the letter of Imam Hussein arrives, Habib is in the street, and he was buying henna to do khizab. He was buying henna to do color to his hair, because Habib was old. Habib ibn Mazahir becomes very, very excited looking at the letter of the Imam, kisses the letter and comes home. But the condition of Kufa had drastically changed to such an extent that he could not tell even his wife how much he wanted to go and help Imam Hussein. When his wife inquires, "Oh Habib, what is happening? What is going on? I saw a person coming and giving you a message." Whose message was it? Habib tries to trivialize, and he says, "Oh, that is the message of the grandson of the Holy Prophet." And his wife becomes very anxious. "Oh Habib, tell us what is the grandson of the Holy Prophet telling you?" He says, "Well, he is asking me to come. In fact, the letter states, Rajulun Faqih." Imam Hussein honors Habib with the title of a jurist. And he says, "Oh Habib, I need your help. I am here with my family and with my children in Karbala. Can you come and help me?" And when his wife hears that Habib is saying that I will contemplate and I will think about it, his wife becomes very, very restless, and she says, "Oh Habib, what are you telling me? The grandson of the Holy Prophet is inviting you to help him, and you are saying you will consider it. What has happened to you? If you are not willing, I have already decided I would go instead of you." And Habib ibn Mazahir says that, "O Mu'mina, O servant of Allah, I was only testing you. The times in Kufa had changed, and since I want to sacrifice my life for Imam Hussein, and I want to ensure that I could reach him, and I did not want it to be arrested, that's why I was telling you, but I shall surely make an effort, and I shall surely go to be amongst those who are serving Hussein. What is the life's worth after the grandson of the Holy Prophet is martyred and killed? It is not worth living. Habib ibn Mazahir would want to leave, but he cannot leave on a horse because other people would know that he is traveling out of the city. So Habib gives his horse to his servant and says, go and stand in the outskirts of the city. I would like to go and help the grandson of the Holy Prophet. Wait for me. I will find an opportunity and come, so that I would take the horse and go to Karbala. And now the servant is waiting anxiously, and Habib is not arriving, until when Habib arrives, only to hear that the servant is saying and talking and speaking to the horse, because even the animal was crying, why Habib has not arrived? The son of Fatima needs his help, and the son of Fatima had asked for his help, and Habib has not arrived yet. And the servant is saying to the horse, oh beloved horse, O horse of Allah, please ensure that you have the strength to travel, because even if my master does not arrive, I shall mount on you and help the grandson of the Holy Prophet. My dear brothers and sisters, when Habib ibn Mazahir sees this, Habib ibn Mazahir immediately says to his servant that I have freed you. I have freed you in the way of Allah. You are free to go wherever you want. And the servant says, oh Habib, when you wanted my services, you kept me. Now is the time to attain paradise and be on the side of the grandson of the Holy Prophet. And you are not letting me accompany you, oh Habib. I would like to accompany you. Habib ibn Mazahir along with his servant, they start their journey towards Karbala. My dear brothers and sisters, every time the army would come, Hazrat Zainab Kubra would hear the hoofs of the horses, the sounds of the horses, and she would inquire with her servant Fizza, the servant of her mother, whom Zainab would call mother herself, and she would say, oh mother Fizza, can you tell me who has come? Is it someone who is going to help and aid my beloved brother on the day of Ashura? And Fizza would go to the doorstep of the tent, and she would say, oh beloved daughter of the Holy Prophet, it is another battalion of the army of Yazid that Ibn Ziyad had sent. And Zainab would become hopeless until a time came when Fizza comes and she says, oh Bibi, the time has come for you to celebrate, because one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Habib ibn Mazahir, has come to the aid of Sayyid al-Shuhada to help Imam Hussein. Zainab was so excited that she comes to the doorstep of the tent and says to Imam Hussein, oh my beloved brother, convey my salam to Habib ibn Mazahir. Tell him the daughter of Ali is welcoming him. When Habib ibn Mazahir listens to the word and to the salam of Hazrat Zainab, he starts slapping on his face, saying that this time has come that we would hear the beloved daughter of the Holy Prophet saying as-salam. Habib came on the day of Ashura, and Habib ensured that the enemy would get the taste of the bravery of Habib ibn Mazahir. We find that Habib ibn Mazahir doing the rajz and saying that Ana Habibun wa Habib Muzahir, I am Habib and my father is Muzahir. Lanahnu azka minkum wa athar, we are reformed and the purest than you are. Nansur khayran nas hina la yuzkar. We are helping the best amongst the creation of Allah, and however that effort is small, my dear brothers and sisters, Habib ibn Mazahir fights profusely, fights with the bravery, as he was the noble of Kufa, and narrations say that Habib ibn Mazahir killed and sent 62 people to hell before he was martyred. But Azizo, my dear brothers and sisters, Habib ibn Mazahir was one of those lieutenants of Imam Hussein that Imam Hussein had made him the commander. Even before I would say this, I would recall another part of the day of Ashura when Muslim ibn al-Sajjah, another companion of Imam Hussein, who was very, very old, from Kufa, who was very, very old to the extent that he could not even hold the sword in his own hand, and the sword was tied to the hands of Muslim ibn al-Sajjah. When he was martyred and Imam Hussein went to the side of Muslim ibn al-Sajjah, and Habib ibn Mazahir was along with him, Habib ibn Mazahir says to Muslim ibn al-Sajjah, "Oh Muslim ibn al-Sajjah, you are passing away. You are going into the company of Rasulullah. You are going into the company of Amirul Mu'mineen, and we are following you in a short while. However, if you have any wasiyah, any will, tell me so that I would try to fulfill it." And Muslim ibn al-Sajjah looks at the son of Fatima and says, "Oh Habib ibn Mazahir, make sure that you protect the son of Fatima. Make sure that you protect this gharib who is surrounded by enemies." And I would say, Muslim ibn al-Sajjah, as long as Habib was alive, as long as Zuhair ibn Khayn was alive, as long as Abbas was alive, nobody could dare look at Hazrat Zahra's beloved son Imam Hussein. But when they all passed away, the enemy started coming toward Hussein, not only toward Hussein, towards the Khiyam of Hussein, and they lit fire to the Khiyam of Hussein alayhi salam. سَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. We ask you, Allah, on account of martyrdom of Imam Hussein and his beloved companions, O Allah, fulfill the hajat of mu'mineen and mu'minat who are in this majlis. We ask you, Allah, to protect life, honor, property and dignity of believers wherever they are. We ask you, Allah, if the enemies of Islam are worthy of guidance, please guide them, otherwise destroy them and humiliate them. We ask you, Allah, to cure those who are sick in our community and forgive those who have passed away from our community. We ask you, Allah, to hasten the reappearance of our Imam and make us such that the Imam of our time would be pleased with us. Matam Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
شهيدين كربلاء 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 Habib and Muslim have come to ask for permission to join the garden of love of Allah, fountain of death or Vilayah. The garden of love of Allah, fountain of death for Vilayah. Mawla Hussein is restless, I can't let you go, my friends. Mawla Hussein is restless, I can't let you go, Oh my friends, this has no meaning to these men. They ask Mawla a question. This has no meaning to these men. They ask Mawla a question. Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of prayer without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of Iman without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of Iman without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of prayer without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of Iman without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of Iman without you? Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, everyone. Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala. Habib and Muslim have come to ask for permission to. Habib and Muslim have come to ask for permission to smell the perfume breeze of Shahada, the reliever of distress, the perfume breeze of Shahada.